welcome to Pekin Hills, the podcast that's everything Teen Wolf. Today we're talking about episode 411, A Promise to the Dead. It is the penultimate episode, even if it didn't feel like it. So what do you think, Lilith?
I have to say the prerequisite. Who uses the word penultimate? We do is the answer here at the Welcome to Pekin Hills podcast. That is a supernatural reference. Starting off the episode right, even if Jeff didn't want to do that. But I was left underwhelmed when I at a time where I would literally kill somebody just to be whelmed about Teen Wolf at this point.
Yeah, not quite sure about this episode, which seems to be my standard default for this season. I didn't have an entire list of questions and hauns and logic fails.
Because nothing happened. So the ratings,
the ratings
about.
Just came in 10 minutes ago. So, and I found them when I was on my tweet deck. So, but I did go back and I verified. But yeah, 10 minutes ago, we found out that our ratings sucked. We had a 0.7 in demo last week and 1.438 million in viewers. This time we have a 0.6, so we've tied our demo low for season 4 and I believe season 2. We did get some 0.5s in season 1, so it's not our lowest yet. But we did also get a 1.293 million in viewers, which is the second lowest viewers in Teen Wolf history.
Yikes. Season 4 is breaking all kind of records and not in a good way.
3B was in season, so that is different than being in the summer. MTV's not going to let go of this anytime soon. We already have our season 5. It's going to be 20 episodes, but those 20 episodes need to start picking up the pace again. As far as ratings go, and as far as plot goes, in my opinion. I think that it has a huge deal with why the ratings are tumbling. Now, this was a holiday weekend, so some people excuse it with that. Or it could very well be that after last week's episode, they thought the season was over. So,
much like we did. And this is just all an epilogue. And I really honestly feel that we were so on point about the next 2 episodes being an epilogue, because this is just wrapping things
setting up
and
season 5 is what it feels like. Knock down the money woes, set up season 5.
Yep. So, this episode was written by Jeff Davis with his writing partner, Ian Stokes. We had our second most prolific director directing, which is Tim Andrews. I like the directing more than I like the written material.
I would agree.
I'll tell you that.
And quite honestly, there wasn't a whole lot of written material.
Stares, sighs, making out, nearly
big time
people.
Cuts and flashing somewhere else for 30 seconds and then coming back. I don't know about this episode.
Just, ugh. But let's get to the synopsis. Let's see. We start the episode off with Deaton, so you just knew that was going to be a confusing episode. And then we get Liam and Mason's brotherhood, and we get Chris confronting Peter and being saved by Parrish, who is kind of turning into a dodo bird. Like, ugh. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Let's see. We get Lydia displaying her poor banshee etiquette once again. Another lacrosse game. Brett gives Liam a pep talk about Scott, how great Scott is. Peter tries to spend some father-daughter time with Malia in true Peter Hale fashion. And good grief, that was the deepest V-neck cut I've seen in a long time. On a man, to boot. And then what else happens? Kate, the best thing I can say about this episode is thank God Kate broke up that day between Scott and Kira. And that's where we are. Kate kidnaps Scott and has plans on turning him into a berserker, so his friends will kill him.
So why don't we talk about those good things that happened in this episode? Number 10 for me. Parrish's eyes go orange, which means he's supernatural, which we knew, but we don't know what yet. And it's a cute little orange one. We haven't really had a lot of orange eyes except for Kira, so maybe he's in her family.
My number 10 is all about helpful Deaton. I couldn't believe my eyes. He actually put himself in danger on the front lines to help Derek Hale. Yeah, I mean, I guess guess his conscience finally caught up with him because he's supposed to be the Hale emissary, and he's been doing a crappy job lately. So I like when episodes open with Deaton on a mission. I especially like when they showcase his BAMF side because that's one of the best things
Number
about
9,
Deaton.
we've actually already mentioned, but it definitely deserves to be on the list. Kate and the Berserkers break in to stop Scott and Kira sex. Thank you. Thank you, Kate. I have never been so grateful to you in my life. I do think also that the Berserkers are still cool, so.
And it was action. And we take action where we can get it on
These
TV.
days we do. So, yes.
Continuity. Flo came by for just a moment. And it has to do with Deaton again. Everybody always asks what Deaton does, and he just loves to say that he's a veterinarian. This is like the 6th time that we've had that exchange in some way, shape, or form. And, I think it's kind of cute and funny that they like to keep a little bit of continuity somewhere.
I think it's cute and funny that they decided that Scott still had a job.
They answered that question that we asked at the beginning of the season. I believe we did ask that question at the beginning of the season. And they answered it.
Number 8 for me. Malia's excited about her C- in math to pass, and Lydia's all like, really? About it? I thought it was a cute little exchange. I like Malia and Lydia together. I like how they are from 2 totally opposite worlds, so they always have very interesting reactions among them.
I like that. Well, I'm just going to put this out here. Don't judge me, guys. Megan Tandy in her underwear. She's hot. She's too good for Derek at this point. I don't want her to be dead or evil, but at least they were just having a nice night in. It looked like post-coitus cuddling and sleeping. So another nice day for Derek and Brayden, and plus they get to use their guns. Gratuitous semi-nudity. Gotta love Teen Wolf for some things, and, hey.
Well, all I can say about that is at least they're doing equal opportunity eye candy at this point. Number 7 for me is a quote. Lydia, you're not taking him anywhere. Doctor, well, unless you're family, I don't think you can make that decision. Lydia, we're close enough. I like that she considers all of the Teen Wolf pack to be her family. I think that she is lacking in family, although this season has done a fantastic job of incorporating her mother. So that was probably one of the strongest things about this season so far. But I do like how they do consider themselves a family. It's a part of what I enjoy most about Teen Wolf. And we don't generally hear them talking about Deaton in that way. So, except for Scott, of course. So it was kind of nice to have that exchange. Quite frankly, it was nice to have Lydia on.
Doing something, being a hero, yeah. Yep. I like that Malia is taking a proactive approach to her education. She wants to be a senior with her friends. She is taking early classes. I like that they added that in because, well, let's just be quite frank, Malia should be homeschooled and nowhere near graduating or taking a GED or anything.
Yeah, well, she certainly shouldn't be in any class with Lydia. I'm gonna take your Malia and raise you a different scene. Number 6. Peter tells Malia to kill Kate in exchange for meeting her mom. I like Peter and Malia scenes, so far. That can change on a dime. But what I really like about it is Peter is this normal, slimy, just terrible self. And Malia is not falling for it. She falls for parts of it in that she really does want to know her mom, obviously. But in it, she says, is this really my mom? She's not taking what Peter says at face value. So I do like that part. And I like when she said, do you always have to get something in return? Peter, when it's something I can't do on my own, yes.
So like all the time, then?
Basically. Apparently you can do nothing because your default plan is always to use someone else to move your mission along.
I'll see you another Malia scene. It's when Sheriff comes in and wants to take them out to dinner. I like this whole scene, but Malia specifically after Sheriff asks her what her favorite food is, and she says deer.
I have that as number 3. So I will actually go back and talk about a different quote in there because there's another quote in there that I like too. Number 5, Deaton kicks butt. He wins the fight. He is, I gotta say, I am happiest with Deaton when he is fighting. He's like another Kira. So keep him fighting. Keep him winning. He wins more fights than Scott and Derek combined.
Deaton going to visit Dr. Valak, was it? I like how he's just like he lives in a world of supernatural and he's like doubting this dude's trepanation methods. Like, really, Deaton? I think you probably seen more crazy stuff like cough cough the Duroc than some guy with an actual third eye. Like, come on. But I like that he was setting out on a mission. I don't like, oh, it's a promise to the woman I loved or whatever. But I do like that he's actually trying to help Derek now. That's a change of pace.
That's why that scene is on both my favorites and least favorites.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4 to me continues on with that whole theory. And that is not only Triclops. That's what I'm calling them now. Because that's the only thing I can come up with. I like Triclops, but I also thought that it was very intriguing that we now have an underground supernatural facility at Icon House. So I have mixed feelings about it, to be totally honest. But right now, that was the coolest revelation of this entire episode. I think that they can do an awful lot with it, even though it's incredibly risky. I mean, have they not seen Arrow? Did they not talk about that jail?
No. It's more of Buffy in the initiative field to me right now.
I would agree with that too. But I think there's a lot that they can do with that. I like that there are a whole lot more people in the know about the supernatural than we ever expected.
And in a supernatural show, it's kind of, as the seasons go on, it's kind of to be expected. You have to open up your world.
And they can bring in a whole lot of different monsters, which I know a lot of people have been asking for.
I want to talk about Mason. As much as, like, you might not want to like Mason, I like Mason. I think he's too good of a friend, personally, at this point. But I do like Mason, and I hope that Liam lets him in. Maybe not on The Secret, but, like, at least be a shoulder to cry on, because I'm tired of people, like, kind of taking Mason for granted at this point.
I want Mason to go to prep school with Tall Prep Blonde and find people who actually appreciate him and get him off my screen. Number 3 for me is also the sheriff takes Stiles and Malia to dinner one, and it's actually threefold, so I'm glad that you picked one part of it, the Malia part. I love that they have canceled the Icon House debt. Other thing that I liked was Stiles' quote also, "I have never been so happy to have almost been murdered."
I don't know, that whole scene was just like, it was like a slice of normal without like money woes. Like, you know what I mean? Like an actual normal kind of slice, as normal as Teen Wolf can get, because dude, it's Beacon Hills. Like, they were studying, like when Sheriff walks in, they were actually like studying. And, like, he's just like trying to be a good dad. That scene was just like one of the best scenes for me. I kind of do like the scene that, like, Brett kind of fills Liam in on just why it's so awesome to be in Scott McCall's pack. We haven't had a Scott McCall fanboy scene, and, like, honestly, this season he doesn't deserve it. But I kind of like Jeff to remember that Scott is the main character every now and then.
So you like that Tall Prep Blonde has become Isaac?
I wouldn't go that far, but I do like that Jeff remembers that Scott has strength of character and that he needs to get back to exactly what a true alpha is. I think that was like a note in the margins. He's like, that should be set up for some other time, but let's just drop this here. That's my hope.
Number 1, Parrish pep talks Argent to get strength from Allison. I thought that was a very positive, very strong scene. I actually liked the Argent part of it better than the Parrish part. I think that there was some really good facial expressions. I liked seeing Argent give up hope. I really did. I like that he also gained hope at the end, obviously. But I thought that was a very good way of playing it. He did get his strength from his family, and his family is gone. Or crazy. And should be gone. And so I thought that was very poignant that we're leaning on Allison and using Allison again as a reason for him to keep going and to keep trying. And I really thought that Parrish did an excellent job.
Wow, we have a different feeling, because I felt that scene was contrived and hokey. But Mama McCall calling Scott out on his BS, but at the same time getting into Scott's head about it, why he kept the money. And we haven't had a Mama McCall and Scott scene in a really long time.
And more importantly,
guys,
this scene is slightly under Be Your Own Anchor.
Yes,
So
I agree.
I love, love, love the line, "Oh, Scott, you can save people's lives, but you cannot save them from life." But I do like that they show that just because you're a superhero doesn't mean you can fix everything. And he can't. He can't fix everything. He wants to fix everything. That's noble, but it's never going to happen. And I love how Mama McCall is just pretty much says it like it is, you know?
And she hands him the stack with basically the blood money. Oh my gosh, and the look on his face. That whole scene was just beautiful. It was well written, well done. And it was a two-sided scene. Sometimes when it's, Melissa and Scott, it's all about Melissa, but I feel like this was an equally sided
Well, it
scene for
was well
sure.
acted in both people, so that was good. And I specifically noted that while I love that speech, I love the scene as a whole, it is the moment right after Mama McCall hands him the stack of blood money and says, "What about this one?" where there are no words and Scott just looks and he nods and he got it. And it's one of those silent conversations again that I think are so powerful on Teen Wolf. When he says that he was going to give it back, she doesn't yell at him. She says, "Do I want to know why you haven't?" And that's a really great way to start a hard conversation with the teen. Because now it's all about trying to figure out why he's doing something and not just yelling about what he did.
I think another great thing about this scene is that from start to finish, it's nothing that I didn't like about the scene, which I haven't been able to say in a long time about
the
Teen Wolf.
best character interaction we have had in a long time. So, and I think that it goes to show the strength of Teen Wolf again is in the bond that the characters have with all people, especially the parents. There were some issues in this episode.
Dude, it's Teen Wolf. We're always gonna have issues, canon busting, lack of general plot coherence.
But I have 10 items I listed. Could be.
I have about 6, and we probably have the exact same issues, I think. So I'll just chime in.
All right. Number 10, braided in with a gun in her underwear. Equal opportunity eye candy? Still hate it. People. Yeah. Number 9. It was implied that Deaton loves Talia, or loved Talia, which I have issues with already. And yet he is just now going to help Derek. All I know is that Derek has been struggling for years. He's been almost dead more times than anybody else on this show. And I'm not buying that all of a sudden, I gotta help Derek because I had a thing for his mama. Number 8, Scott takes Kira on their first date to Derek's loft.
That is not a nice date. And I understand you only make minimum wage, but a picnic under the moonlight? I mean,
all I know is that if you're going on a first date and you want to make an impression, somebody else's loft, and loft with only a bed, couch, and table, I assume he has a bathroom, but other than that, I don't think he has anything. Probably not going to be the best one. This is the other one. He takes Kira on their first date before the big game.
I know, right?
What? Nobody goes on a big date before the big game, especially when both of you are playing. Really? Scott?
And also, they were going to watch Star Wars? It was already dark!
Star Wars is not a 20-minute movie. So, since you didn't give yourself a whole lot of lead time before the game for your big date, there's just so many bad things about that. One of my least favorite quotes of the night is actually one that I think you liked. Derek, everyone can be tempted, Scott, even a true alpha.
Nope, hated it. I was like, okay, we get it. We get it. Drop the anvil. Thanks, Jeff. Thanks, Ian.
Number 7 is my list of the night. It is the logic fail list. Number 1, Kira attacks the berserker with a chain instead of using her cell phone to call for backup. B, Parrish doesn't go up to call 911 and then go back charge it. Cannot stress enough, emergency training for all people in Beacon Hills, but probably especially the emergency responders. C, apparently Lydia can just walk into Eichen House whenever she wants now. And D, that was one very quick trip to Mexico with 2 unconscious bodies. So yeah, there were many logic fails in this episode, but considering the majority of episodes in this season there were actually surprisingly very little. So that is a plus in an area of minuses.
I got another logic fill for you. If Styles is so bad, why is he still on the lacrosse team?
Number 6. Styles is playing lacrosse. Why? Yep, I agree. Actually, everything lacrosse in this episode is under my issues. Number 7. Lydia screams at Derek's loft door, and there is zero follow-through. Lydia goes to talk to Deaton. We don't get to see it. Lydia makes a phone call. It ends 10 seconds later. What the heck were they doing to Lydia? The cuts are too quick, first off, in this the whole episode. It makes zero sense in the season of Lydia, where we still have so many unanswered questions about Lydia and Banshees and how all this works together. And, we finally get Lydia and Deaton having a scene together, but it's like 10 seconds, and all it is calling someone else. Number 4. This was all over Twitter. Scott gets his butt kicked by Kate. Again. Scott, the alpha, is about as effective at fighting as Derek, the alpha, was.
I'll see you that one, and I'll raise you another. The lessons returned. Greek mythology, really?
And you know what, to be totally honest, I'll add, I'm not going to turn you into a deer.
This has been the game plan. Then Benefactor was just straight up filler at this point then. And that's what ticks me off.
10 out of 12 episodes didn't matter. Number 3 is one that I hated and most people probably didn't even care about. Peter reveals that he's working with Kate to Arjun. That blows everything open. Everybody in the pack is going to know that Peter is the bad guy now. That is absolutely 100% what I did not want to have happen. I wanted Peter to keep this relationship with Kate clandestine so that once we killed Kate, we could go back to Peter being the manipulator again. And I hate that. And if Peter ends up dying as the big...
Okay, this is not even my question about why he told Argent. How did he get the Berserker to work for him? What is that?
Good question. Because we still don't know how Kate has gotten the Berserkers to work for her. Which leads me to number 2. Liam. Oh, for the love of entertainment. Liam. 7 scenes. 7 scenes with people either Liam having PTSD or somebody reassuring and comforting Liam for his PTSD. I counted how many seconds. I timed how many times Liam was on screen. He was on screen for 10 minutes and 43 seconds, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, until you realize that the entire episode was 41 minutes. So, Liam was on screen for over 1/4 of the episode. Of that time, only 50 seconds were not directly about him, and that was the coach time. That is a tremendous amount of time to spend on a secondary character when nothing happened. We spent all of that time, 1/4 of the episode, watching Liam be scared or whiny or hurting his best friend. He might even try to kill Scott, and Scott might be forced to. Number 1 issues I had with this episode, it was so freaking boring.
That's my number 1 issue.
I'm watching it, and I will say this, the time did fly. I wasn't watching the clock to figure out what was going on. When we got to 8 minutes left, I was like, holy moly, we got to 8 minutes left, and nothing has happened in this episode. This is the penultimate episode. This should be the big game changer. This is the episode in 3B. They were fighting the Oni. It was a huge deal. And in this episode, nothing.
Kate shows up and kidnaps Scott and Kira. That is literally the crux of the episode. Let's talk about characters.
All right, let's start with Scott, the alpha with performance issues still, and the bad date.
What can I say about Scott? The best of this episode, one of the best things in the episode had to do with him, and a lot of the bad stuff happened with him in the scene. So, but like I said, I enjoy his time with Mama McCall. I definitely did. But we also, again, I think this is really weird. We didn't get any Scott and Styles. He did mention Styles and paying for his MRI, but that's all we got. And Teen Wolf lives and I will say this time and time again, Teen Wolf lives and dies with Scott and Styles. And this season, above all things, has been very light after a heavy season that needs to see those two together, reconciliated, the brotherhood reaffirmed. And it's just not happening. And it breaks my heart, and it brings the show down.
Well, and I think part of the issue is also that if it was because the season was Styles light, after all of that time that he had, I mean, he basically was 3B. And so if it was Styles light this time in order to give more screen time to someone else, that would make more sense to me, especially because, Dylan has got his movie career and he's doing things for that. But it isn't Styles light. There's still plenty of Styles time. He's just always with somebody else, basically shipping him with one or the other every other episode. And I agree that, in this case, we got Styles texting Scott. And that was basically it. And then reacting to Scott being kidnapped. It feels off. It feels like they're trying to replace Scott and Styles with Liam and Mason.
I just don't know how to feel about Scott this whole season. I wanted to see him be more proactive. I wanted him to step into the leadership role of delegation and giving the pep talks. But at every turn, somebody else has been doing that, mainly Derek. And I'm okay with that to a certain extent, but I just wish that Jeff would remember that he is the main character and that Styles and Scott are the foundation of the show.
Yeah, I think that Scott as a whole this season has stepped up a bit. I think having a beta has given, as much as I hate Liam, it has given Scott another layer, and it has shown us a Scott that Scott's always been sympathetic. He's always been the moral center, but now he's kind of stepped that up a notch. So I think that as a whole, he has grown some, but as an alpha, he has tremendous issues along the lines of Derek as an alpha. So at this point, I really think that being an alpha simply means that you suck at your job.
And to quote one of my tweets, when Kate asked what's so special about Scott McCall, I tweeted, I don't even think Jeff knows.
I don't either.
Let's talk about Styles.
Styles.
I don't know how to feel about Styles this season, honestly. I think it's because I'm not a shipper, and this is obviously directed very much so at shippers and not necessarily people that are fans of Styles by himself.
Agreed.
So I'm really at a loss for words with it. I do enjoy the relationship between him and Malia, but at the same time, I feel like she forgave him too quickly. They're back to being mushy. I feel like she should have her walls up a little bit, but, it is what it is. I was very meh about Styles, except for the scene with Sheriff, obviously. Best thing about the episode, one of the 3 best things about the episode is the scene between him and Malia and his dad. So
in this one, I felt like Styles was barely present. He was present for Malia. I loved the scene with Sheriff and Malia, like you. Hated the scene with Styles and Liam. I just feel like he was there, but he wasn't there for anything important. And actually, in a lot of ways, except for the scene with Sheriff and Malia, everything about Styles was forgettable in this episode.
Derek, blinked and you missed him.
Well, he screwed Brayden.
Well, it was post-coital cuddling and napping. So.
He screwed Brayden. He forgave Scott. Derek didn't do squat in this episode, I think is where we're going with this.
It was blinking, you missed it. He was shirtless. We were back to that. He had a good little sensei moment with Scott, and that's been his role. And he basically did have a good day, is all I'm saying.
I'm done with Derek's good day.
I want him to be important to the story and not be de-aged and on, shot, stabbed, tortured, whatever. But,
I just want a story. All right, Lydia, talk about someone who wasn't there.
Short change much? Like, good grief. She is a main character. She has been there since the beginning. And I feel like we're back to season 1 where all this regression. Like, I guess they're like, okay, we spent enough time on Lydia. Now we can shortchange her again. Ha 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 ha.
And the real problem is that her scenes were the most interesting. And we never got to see them. So instead of seeing interesting scenes with Lydia, we get, again, Liam moping. We get Scott and Kira having sex. We get Styles, I don't even know what he was doing. And we get Derek having sex. It's like, okay, so the actual story part of this story was Lydia. And she was on for 32 seconds. Okay, good to know.
Now is that hyperbole, or did you actually time that?
That's hyperbole.
Okay. Kira, useless. Back to being useless.
Yeah, nothing. I got nothing.
And Kira just has no strong suit, apparently.
She does. Pick up a sword and rock.
But even that didn't defeat the Berserkers. I don't know why she thought
it's because she didn't have a sword.
I don't know why. What is she gonna magically infuse it with her Kitsune powers? Like what? Run! Then it just made no sense. Like it's a regular chain.
Mm-hmm. And she didn't even electrify it. She could have electrified it.
Hello, have we even seen her besides lighting the bulb? That was the first time. Oh yeah, and that little electric shock thing she did with the needle. She's a Kitsune. Use the damn powers.
Well, she did kill Scott, so
but that didn't require any special effects either, though.
Yeah, I am as much as I'm frustrated with Scott never winning a fight ever. I am also frustrated with Kira never using her powers ever in an actual fight. She uses her sword, and she does well with that. I mean, she doesn't always win, obviously. She doesn't even win as often as she should, but that's a theme. But that is when she is most awesome. But she never thinks to use her powers any other way. And in all honesty, she is the one who is best suited or best situated to learn about her powers because her mother is still there and can teach her. However, the bright shining light of season 4 is Malia. Malia, again, was cute in this episode. She had some funny lines. I like how she always brings the humor. As a matter of fact, if I look at number of scenes and if I like those scenes or not, Malia is the only person who comes out on top. She's the only one who doesn't have a deficit in my screen to like kind of thing, or scene to like. I thought that with the exception of the waking styles up, which was a little too much for me, every other scene that she was in, she made the scene. She was just great.
I agree. I can't say enough good things about Malia. I get that they just kind of wanted to gloss over the drama, the relationship drama, and I'm thankful for it. It annoys me, but I am thankful for it.
Oh, could you imagine what this episode would have been like if we had them fighting still?
So painful.
Would have killed the only fun scene in the whole thing.
I don't want to talk about any side characters.
Villain of the week.
Peter, Kate, Berserkers, Liam's mopiness.
My villain of the week is boredom. So, what happened this week to move the story along?
Kate kidnaps Scott and plans on making him into a berserker. Argent knows that Peter is working with Kate, and he is presumably told them.
And everybody's heading to Mexico. If Liam doesn't go, there was 0 point to him freaking out about berserkers the entire freaking episode. He has to be the one that goes after Scott.
I thought he was supposed to be the one to recognize Scott.
Oh, I hope not. I really hope not.
Because he's his beta. He bit him. He's his actual beta. So I thought that was the...
As opposed to, I don't know, his best friend.
Well, supposedly werewolves are supposed to have powers and be able to smell and stuff. Styles is just a regular old human. Even though human is his own superpower on Teen Wolf. I'm firmly sticking to that, but...
Oh, I agree. I want to see Jeff try and tell me that werewolf senses are better than anything else again. I dare you, Jeff. I dare you. Unless being a berserker means that you suddenly have no tongue.
I think so, though. That we've never heard the berserkers talk or even yell or anything. Just their bones, their bone chest plates clattering, really.
So he can't move his finger in the dust, because that place is dusty, and say, I am Scott, in a kind of I am Voldemort kind of way.
I don't know. It seems like they're pretty mindless, and I guess they're going to be a part of, like Kate. It seems like she's controlling them, so, I mean, I don't know. We don't know! Berserkers, we have no idea. When we should, really, because it's the end of the season and it's pivotal and crucial for us to know.
And we started with Berserkers.
And we're ending with Berserkers. It's a bookend. We should know. We should have the pages filled in by now.
Series. After the season finale, this season will be, without a doubt, the worst season of Teen Wolf.
I was literally going to say that, Dawn. Seriously.
That's my theory. And I'm sticking to it.
that is more of a prediction, honestly. That is like 90%, 99% possibility of being proven very true. My theory is, like I said, I think Liam is going to be the one to recognize Scott. It's going to be puke-inducing.
Yep.
And you know, Teen Wolf likes to get sappy sometimes, and I think there needs to be a point to Liam other than him being the one going after Scott.
I think that if you build it up that much, because really what they've built up is Liam's paralyzing fear of berserkers. And the natural response to that, according to IED, the response to fear for Liam is anger. So he spent this entire time being afraid. It's building up his frustration. His beta has been kidnapped, or his alpha has been kidnapped. His alpha that acts like a beta. I think it is absolutely natural that it be Liam the one to attack Scott, and for Scott to have to protect himself.
But we know that Liam's gonna be in season 5, so that kind of just makes it awkward. It's like when Oliver shot Roy in the knee, you know, with the arrow. It's like, okay, and they're still friends. Why? He still worships him. Why? I don't need that. I don't need that in Teen Wolf.
So, but I don't think he's going to kill him either. But I think that is going to be a pivotal moment of how far is Scott going to go. Now, if he does truly become a mindless berserker, then all bets are off. And at that point, I am telling you right now, it better be Styles that breaks through to him.
Not Kira.
It better not be Kira. It better not be Liam. Oh, I would actually rather have Kira than Liam.
That's where we beg to differ, because I actually care about the werewolf side of it, and it makes more sense if it is Liam. Just saying.
I care about it not making me want to throw my screen out, much less.
Jeff is really trying to build up Liam for something, so.
I know he is, but yeah, my theory is that Liam is going to be on the attack for Scott, and it just really works for me that way. I also don't think that I don't think that we're going to go back to Eichenhaus and the Supernaturals in the finale. I think that is going to be launched in season 5, although it could very well be the last 30-second cliffhanger. I would expect that Derek does not die, and that's the theory that is different than a lot of people. I don't see Derek dying. He could be the life that hangs in the balance, but I don't think that's happening. And I also think that if Scott is a berserker when he kills somebody, it negates every freaking anvil they have sent us. So at this point, I still hold to Scott's going to kill somebody this season, but because we got zero buildup of that in this episode, that theory is not. I'm not at 99% sure like I was before.
I really feel like quote unquote Dark Scott is a thing for season 5. And whatever happens in this finale, it's gonna like kind of change Scott a little bit. I don't know. Maybe he feels like he has to become Peter in order to beat Peter or something like that. I don't know.
But also still in my predictions, I still firmly believe that Malia's mother will be back and that we will see her at the end of the finale.
I don't know. I mean, good for Malia, but like if she's anything like Peter, heaven help Malia.
I am actually more curious about her than I am anything that happened in this season.
Yeah, especially since we found out the whole Deadpool list was a wash.
Mm-hmm. Unless it's the surprise twist, and it actually becomes interesting and important in the finale.
It better not. But then again, they kept dropping that anvil that it's not over yet.
Mm-hmm. And Lydia's whole somebody else is gonna die thing, that was supposed to be a big anvil, but it ended up being a so kind of thing. So that brings us to episode awards. What was the grade?
A D+.
D-. I mean, all of the problems of episode 3 were in this episode. We had extended lacrosse, we had extended romantic stuff, we had zero action until the end. We have bad character interaction like we did in that one. We have weird cuts and logic gaps. What we didn't have in this one was an extended scene that lasted 64 minutes. That's the only difference that I see between this one and 3. Oh, and we didn't have a slow-mo taking off the helmet shot.
Oh, but we did have slow-mo in the fight scene, which kind of defeats the purpose of the fight scene.
Yeah. It's Teen Wolf.
I know. It's my cross to bear. I know. But I have to mention it, because I haven't mentioned it in the last couple times that it's happened, so I'm just going to mention it today. Oh, MVP? Nobody.
I'm going to toss it off to either Parrish or Malia. Malia had the best scenes. Parrish is the only one that had a scene that I cared about in the long run. So I'm going to do either of those two.
Gun to your head, you gotta pick. Malia, just say it.
Yeah, it'll be Malia because I can toss Parrish in best character interaction.
Best character interactions for you.
I'm going to go with Parrish and Argent because I really did like that scene. But in reality, it would be a tie between Parrish and Argent and Mama McCall and Scott.
Yep, that's hands down my number one scene of the night. My best favorite character interactions because I actually liked every single second of that scene.
That is my best scene. So in my miscellaneous, best scene is Mama McCall and Scott. Best reason to watch.
It's the penultimate episode. I mean, it was Monday night at 10 p.m. What else were you doing?
Best reason to watch? Watching the actors' live tweet.
You don't have to watch the live tweet, Dawn.
I know. But the live tweet from the actors, and just a small portion of the live tweet, by the way, because very little live tweeting happened during this episode. But the live tweeting of the actors was more interesting and more plot development than anything that happened on screen. Fan and critic reaction. Well, in all honesty, as soon as this episode ended, we had a tornado alert and then a really bad thunderstorm, and so I turned off the computer about 45 minutes, I believe, after the episode. So I didn't do a whole lot on Twitter at all. Mostly Twitter trends for the people that I tweet with. A whole lot of, that's it? That's what? Nothing happened in this episode. So we got a gazillion of those. As far as it goes with the official one, the two very best things about official tweets were all the stuff about people's moms, and then the conversation that was between the actors who play Brayden and Sheriff and Mama McCall.
I like the back and forth between Lyndon, who plays Sheriff, and Melissa Ponzio, who plays Mama McCall, better because she's like, because Megan Tandy said almost everybody's all paired up, and then Melissa Ponzio pipes in, and she goes, "Not this lady," and then Lyndon tweets, "I've been trying to build up the courage to ask," and oh my god, that was so priceless.
That was the best part of the entire episode. Was that whole live tweet part, and it starts with Brayden, and basically, like you said, she's there. And then actually Lyndon jumped in before that when he was like, no, which was awesome. And then Melissa, there's a lady still waiting over here. And there's a guy who wants to ask. And then she comes back with, and now there's a lady blushing and waiting and blushing. That was by far the best interaction of the night. Megan Tandy said, "My mom just asked me, is Scott going to be a Birgit say nay now? What is wrong with you?" And then it's hashtag berserker, hashtag Nagatsune. And I was like, that's hilarious. And then Arden Cho, who plays Kira, tweeted, "My mom just called and asked me if that scene was R-rated. Teen Wolf getting sexy. Blushing." So moms and parents were the best thing about Twitter. And it really, everybody else was everything that I did and highlighted in the limited time that I had pretty much was like, at Diosabel7 tweeted, "Liam, yawn." And I mean, almost everything was really, really about at Dylan O'Crying. Someone needs to stop Jeff Davis at all costs. Yes, they do. Tony, like I said, she's at Gray Sky Morning 9, said, "I want to know what thought possessed Jeff Davis that even hinted Kate would be a great follow-up villain to Dark Styles." Really? We had, Emily Cunningham wrote, "This season finale next week has a lot of explaining to do." By lot,
Yeah, right.
we mean, can we get at least one thing tied up? At TeenWolf_Dean, Dear Jeff Davis, my middle finger salutes you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Then one of my absolute favorite ones, though, of the night is at Ryan with Cupcake. And he wrote, "It's okay, Scott. Your friends literally can't kill anything." It was like, yeah, okay. There. At Sophia M. Porter, we were empathizing with each other. She wrote, "Who doesn't want to watch this episode again for the review? Me. It's definitely me." Yes, absolutely. And there just all kinds of things in here. At Kate Conley X, "I want something entertainment. All it is everyone's love life, and it's getting boring. Come on, Jeff. Come on." So, yeah. A lot of stuff about how Malia doesn't need any time with Peter in there, too. And then some stuff about Lydia and how, she's not in this episode, basically. At Anthony SoCal said, "This is just ... terrible." That was the most tweeted thing that I tweeted out. Everyone's like, oh, yeah. Yeah. And a lot of stuff about Parrish and his eyes were in there, too. Just mostly it was about people not being excited about this episode.
Tumblr was not excited about this episode. The most gifted thing, of course, is Parrish's eyes that I saw. And, of course, the shippers, because that's what Tumblr's for, was Scott and Kira's awful date. And Malia kissing Styles. So, yeah. But mostly, I actually had a little time this week, and I did a little meta about the Hale headcock and how it relates to actual wolves and just like canines in general, about how when they cock their head, they're actually just trying to listen better.
That makes sense.
And because it's about localization and all this other stuff, and it's like, especially Derek has been doing that more this season since he's become Sensei Derek. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of what started me down that trail, and I just kind of like that. I don't know if it's like an actor thing or if it's written in the script, but if it's an actor thing, the fact that he like kind of looks up canine behavior would be awesome and really detailed.
I agree. Nothing wrong with actors, trying to flesh out their characters when the writers won't.
I definitely think Tyler Hoechlin is one of those actors, especially in this case of Jeff just kind of liking to keep everybody in the dark.
I think he's not making a conscious effort to keep people in the dark.
Did you read the interesting critic review?
I did read some critic review, but now that my Chrome is down, I don't remember what it was. I read Sophia's, and I read, I want to say Backlot maybe, but I'm not.
Yay! If it's Backlot, good for you. I love Backlot. I'm absolutely back to being obsessed with them. I read TV Fanatic, Entertainment Weekly, and my favorite, and something that if you haven't read it already, I think you would enjoy, is the AV Clubs one.
Okay.
Because they just really tore them to pieces.
Good. Yeah, it was EW that I read last week. I don't think I read it this week.
Entertainment Weekly, they kind of have to walk the line, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because especially since in the...
J.R. Bourne did the 30-minute Q&A.
Yeah, and the August 22nd through 29, the one with Robin Williams on the cover, it actually covers Teen Wolf. So that was pretty exciting to read. So if you haven't gotten that episode or that issue, you might want to check it out because it's got an interview with Tyler Posey and Dylan O'Brien that's really cute. Yeah, it was really cute, and I thought it was a lot of fun. So, obviously, Entertainment Weekly is starting to cover Teen Wolf more. Teen Wolf also got an award from TV Guide this year, so it's making the waves. Unfortunately, it's making the waves during this season. So hopefully season 5 will be back on track and we can kind of ride some of that new media exposure into a better time.
Definitely. And if you are into realistic, honest reviews too, TV Over Mine, well, at least when it comes to Teen Wolf, because that's the only thing I really read it for, they're usually pretty honest, brutally so most of the time, about a lot of the things that they cover.
I'm good.
And the comments are always fantastic.
Sometimes the comments are a whole lot better than the articles.
Actually, I will actually check the email, even though I don't know why I bother. Hint, guys, hint.
Well, while we're doing that, you can always check out the podcast over at southgatemediagroup.com. Again, thousands of different things, it seems like. Always a new thing going on. Quite happily, we've had several podcasts that were in the iTunes top podcast list, so that's a lot of fun. You can find something for everyone there, so go and check out what's going on. Our Teen Wolf podcasts are about to go on hiatus, so we know that you want to check out some of the other ones. Just as a shameless plug as we're going through, I do the Sleepy Hollow podcast with Zach, so we'd love to have you come over there too, where we talk a lot about recapitations and awesome history.
Oh, well, since we're shameless plugging Southgate Media Podcast, I will be doing the Constantine podcast. I also do the DC 52 podcast, and this is the season of DC, and I know a lot of people aren't really familiar with like anything outside of Batman. Gotham's going to be really interesting, especially with the new takes and stuff on it. What else we got? We got Arrow returning, Flash making its premiere. We got iZombie in the mid-season, so lots of DC stuff going on. Preacher is revving up for its launch in 2015, so if you are into DC, then you should check it out. You should follow us on Twitter at Beacon Hills Pod. Well, you should just keep up to date because I will be doing a couple of things for Teen Wolf until we come back, because I think this is going to be a brutal hiatus, honestly. No matter how it ends, I still definitely want to give it another chance in season 5. So.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Nothing about this season was a deal breaker. Nothing.
Find us on Tumblr at welcometobeaconhillspodcast.tumblr.com. And, of course, the best way to get a hold of us, if you don't want to send us an email at teenwolf.smgpod@gmail.com, you can just leave a message at Welcome to Beacon Hills on Facebook. Facebook.com/Welcome to Beacon Hills.
Very cool. We hope to hear from you. Also, as we get closer to the beginning of season 5, which we don't know when that is yet, but as we get closer, then we will, of course, do a wish list kind of podcast where we talk about what we want to think or what we think should happen, where we want the stories to go, where we want the character arcs to be, and we would love to have your input on that too. So if you want to email us or Facebook us or tweet us, whatever, then you can do that and we can kind of start on that. Also, I tend to do things over hiatus for different shows, so you can also follow me at dawn1.blogspot.com. That's GAHNE1. And I always tweet about what's on my blog at Dawn1, so you can follow me at Dawn1 on Twitter. And that is a wrap up for episode 411, Promise to the Dead. And you might as well just sleep through this episode because, dude, nothing interesting happened in Beacon Hills.
If you would like to donate to help pay for this and other Southgate Media Group podcasts, simply go to our website, southgatemediagroup.com, and click on the donate button. It can be as little as $1 or, well, as much as you want. Help keep this fun going by supporting this and our other shows. Thanks again for listening, everyone. You're the best fans in the world.